On July 18, 2013, Detroit, Michigan filed for Chapter 9 bankruptcy. This is the largest municipal failure in U.S. history. For too many, this was a surprising event, but not at S&P Capital IQ. Given the high-profile nature of Detroit, S&P Capital IQ Risk Solutions has conducted regular case studies on the city's general obligation debt using our GEO, or Local Government Credit Assessment Scorecard. Detroit's credit quality has deteriorated in the midst of the recession and has continued to weaken to the point where the city is now deemed insolvent. So what are the lessons learned? How did Detroit become bankrupt? From S&P Capital IQ's perspective, there are 4 key credit risk drivers to assess Detroit's capacity and willingness to repay its debt. First, Detroit has the weakest economic base of any large U.S. city. Relative to other cities, Detroit has the highest unemployment rate, more than double the U.S. average. Detroit has the lowest income levels of any large U.S. city, which is a strong predictor of capacity to repay debt. The city has experienced the greatest population loss over the past 25 years. Second, the city has a massive debt burden with $18 billion of debt, including bonds, pensions, and other post-employment benefits, including health care obligations. What's so daunting is that this debt is supported by an overtaxed and declining tax base. Third, there were years and years of financial mismanagement and lack of willingness to repay debt. This was highlighted by late financial audits, aggressive spending, and ongoing operating deficits growing to a current imbalance of $326 million. Fourth, there does not appear to be a white knight that will look to repay the city's general obligation bonds. That white knight could be either the state or federal government, but neither is obligated or expected to step up and meet bondholder payments. So when we talk to our clients that are responsible for surveillance of their municipal or local government portfolios, the inevitable question is, who is next? In other words, is this an isolated event or the start of a trend? Clearly, Detroit was a convergence of a very weak capacity and willingness to repay its debt obligations for the reasons mentioned. However, an emerging issue is, will other cities and counties with large debt, pension, and other post-employment benefit obligations consider Chapter 9 filings to erase those debts? To help identify potential bankruptcy candidates, here are 10 warning signs to indicate the city or county is at risk of default on its general obligation bonds. So starting with the management warning signs. 1. Late budget adoption or late receipt of audited financial statements. 2. High degree of senior administrative turnover. 3. Government shows lack of willingness to support the debt. The economic warning signs. 4. Unemployment rate over 10%. Per capita income levels that are less than 75% of the U.S. average. 6. The market value of the tax base that is less than $50,000 per capita. The debt warning signs. Number 7. Total debt service that represents more than 25% of expenditures. 8. Unaddressed exposure to large unfunded pension and post-employment benefits. The financial warning sign risks include limited capacity or willingness to cut expenditures, and the overall general fund balance of less than 1% of expenditures or general fund deficit. Detroit experienced the vast majority of these warning signs. If a county or city experiences even half of these, then we would consider them at risk, and deeper and more frequent surveillance should be conducted, or you can consider using S&P Capital IQ GEO Local Government Scorecard that incorporates these warning signs in a consistent and transparent analytical framework. For those interested in learning more about S&P Capital IQ credit assessment scorecards, please feel free to reach out to us. On behalf of S&P Capital IQ and Risk Solutions, thank you for your time.